Victorian doctors invented a fake disease to keep women off bicycles. In 1895, medical professionals warned the public about a terrifying new condition sweeping through the population. They called it bicycle face. It was characterized by a hard, clenched jaw, bulging eyes, a flushed complexion, and dark shadows forming under the eyes. Doctors described it as a nervous condition caused by the constant stress of trying to balance on two wheels, and they warned that it would turn women into a men. But bicycle face wasn't real. It was never real. It was a medical fiction designed to discourage women from riding bicycles at the exact moment when bicycles were giving women something the Victorian establishment feared more than any disease: freedom. Why would anyone invent a fake medical condition over a bicycle? You have to understand what the bicycle meant in the 1890s. In the early 1880s, only a few thousand cyclists lived in the entire United States. Bicycling was restricted to athletically inclined men riding penny farthings, those absurd contraptions with the enormous front wheel. Then, in 1885, the Rover safety bicycle changed everything. It featured a lower mounting position, two equally sized wheels, and a chain-driven rear wheel. Suddenly, anyone could ride. The effect was explosive. In 1890, American companies built about 30,000 bikes. By 1892, that doubled to 60,000. By 1894, 100,000. Then production truly took off, surpassing 400,000 in 1896 and more than 900,000 a year by 1898 and 1899. The number of American bicycle manufacturers leapt from 27 in 1890 to 312 by 1900. The cycling economy's workforce grew tenfold in a single decade, and prices dropped. In the 1880s, a bicycle cost $100 to $150, roughly 6 months' wages. By 1898, sellers in Minneapolis were advertising basic models for $30. 5,000 people rode their bikes to work every day in downtown Chicago alone. By the middle of the decade, millions of Americans were cycling, and a significant portion of them were women. By the 1890s, several million women around the world had taken to two wheels. This was the environment that produced the bicycle face panic. 1896 was the absolute height of what historians call the bicycle boom, a period of almost 10 years when Americans of every age, class, sex, and race fell in love with cycling, and it terrified certain people. The man most responsible for giving this fear a medical name was Dr. Arthur Shadwell, a British physician and Fellow of the Royal College of Physicians. He was a true prick. In 1897, he published an article in the National Review called The Hidden Dangers of Cycling. In it, he proudly noted that he had coined the term bicycle face, writing, "Some time ago I drew attention to the peculiar, strained, set look so often associated with this pastime, and called it the bicycle face. The general adoption of the phrase since then indicates a general recognition of its justice." Shadwell warned that women were especially at risk, advising them against attempting a novel and peculiar experiment with their precious persons. He claimed the risks to women's health included internal inflammation, exhaustion, appendicitis, dysentery, nervous attacks, and of course, bicycle face. He characterized cycling as a fashionable craze, attempted by people unfit for any exertion. He wasn't alone. Dr. Arabella Keneally, a British physician and committed anti-feminist, warned that vigorous cycling could make women infertile. This woman was also a prick. In her 1899 article, Woman as an Athlete, published in the 19th century, she projected that at its most extreme, cycling could lead to what she called race suicide among the middle classes. Women were warned that cycling while pregnant would cause fetal deformities, difficult labour, stillbirths, and an inability to breastfeed. And bicycle face was only the beginning. Related conditions proliferated through medical journals and popular press alike. There was cyclemania, bicycle stoop, bicycle hump, bicycle walk, bicycle heart, and even the impressively Latin kyphosis bicyclistarum. The creativity was almost admirable. But perhaps the most revealing concern was this. Some doctors worried that straddling the bicycle seat, combined with the motion of pedaling, would lead to female sexual arousal. That claim alone tells you everything about the real motivations behind the panic. Meanwhile, in New York, the World newspaper published its infamous 41 Don'ts for Women Riders in 1895. The list included gems like don't cultivate a bicycle face, don't go out after dark without a male escort, don't chew gum, exercise your jaws in private, and my personal favourite, don't scratch a match on the seat of your bloomers. The hostility wasn't always limited to words. Emma Eads, one of the first women to ride a bike in London, was attacked with bricks and stones as she pedalled through the streets. But women kept riding. Not only did they keep riding, some of them rode spectacularly. In June of 1894, a Latvian Jewish immigrant named Annie Cohen-Kopchowski announced she was going to settle a bet between two wealthy Boston merchants. She would cycle around the entire world in 15 months without any money, carrying only the clothes on her back. Annie stood 5'3" and weighed 100 pounds. Her bicycle, a Ladies' Columbia, weighed 42. She carried a change of clothes and a pearl-handled revolver. She took the name Annie Londonderry, after the Londonderry Lithia Spring Water Company that sponsored her journey. 15 months later, she completed the trip. The New York World called it the most extraordinary journey ever undertaken by a woman. She became the first internationally recognized female athletic star. And then there were the voices of reason. Dr. Sarah Hackett Stevenson, a Chicago physician and the first woman ever admitted to the American Medical Association, publicly demolished the bicycle face myth. She stated plainly, "Cycling is not injurious to any part of the anatomy, as it improves the general health. The painfully anxious facial expression is seen only among beginners and is due to the uncertainty of amateurs. As soon as a rider becomes proficient, this look passes away." Dr. Turner, writing in Wheelwoman magazine, was even more direct. The bicycle face, the bicycle hand, the bicycle foot are myths and nothing more. The suffragist Elizabeth Cady Stanton, at the age of 80 in 1895, declared that the bicycle would inspire women with more courage, self-respect, self-reliance. And Susan B. Anthony delivered perhaps the most famous verdict on the matter in 1896. "I think it has done more to emancipate women than anything else in the world. It gives women a feeling of freedom and self-reliance. I stand and rejoice every time I see a woman ride by on a wheel, the picture of free, untrammeled womanhood." The bicycle face panic faded in the early 1900s, not because anyone formally retracted the diagnosis, but because the bicycle became so commonplace that the anxiety simply couldn't sustain itself. The hand-wringers moved on, turning their fears toward automobiles and, naturally, the spectre of horseless carriage face. But the pattern didn't die. A 2026 study in the New Zealand Medical Journal examined how a small number of rogue physicians used the media to amplify unfounded fears, implanting them into the public consciousness. The researchers concluded that these invented diagnoses reflected gender norms and anxieties over female independence rather than medical evidence. And they drew a direct line from bicycle face to modern panics over Wi-Fi sickness, 5G sensitivity, and other conditions where non-specific anxiety gets misattributed to poorly understood technology. The bicycle face panic was never about faces. It was never about medicine. It was about control. It was about a society watching women gain mobility, independence, and joy, and reaching for the most authoritative tool it had, the medical establishment, to try to take it away. It didn't work. Women rode anyway, and 24 years after Bicycle Face first made headlines, they won the right to vote. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.